Hello students, welcome again. Today we will start with NCERT Class 7 Chapter 3 The Delhi Sultans. We will study Indian history from such a perspective from where a big change occurs in Indian administrative system, Indian rulers, Indian culture and so on. How did Delhi become an important center? Before understanding the invasions of Mughal rulers in India, let us understand how Delhi became the important center. During the early 20th century, Delhi started to become one of the main centers. This all started with the Rajput rulers, maybe Tomar Rajputs, who were defeated by Chauhans of Ajmer. At that time, Delhi became the center for most of the Muslim invaders that started up. It was emerging as a trading center. From Garrison town to empire. At that time, Delhi was mostly a kind of fortified town, which was known as Garrison, and that garrison had hinterlands. The Sultan seldom controlled the hinterlands of the cities and were therefore dependent upon trade, tribute, or plunder for suppliers. Actually, hinterland was a land adjacent to a city or port that supply it with goods and services. Now, as we said that hinterlands were there and consolidation of hinterlands became an important aspect. Now, by consolidating these areas, the land was given to the peasants. New forces or towns were made to protect the trade routes, and finally, there was a second expansion that took place. They expanded the external frontiers and the military rule. A lot of army was captured. Basic kinds of works. Merchants mainly were Jain merchants who were seen here, and also numerous coins were minted at that time. And these coins were minted in Delhi were known as Delhi Wall. So, these were some of the basic or important kinds of works during that period. Important sources of information about Delhi Sultans. Again, history says that they have valuable records for the period of Delhi invasions, and these were mainly in Persian language known as Tariq as a singular or Tariq as a plural word. These basically were wrote about the city and life and the capital as such. Why the people were writing these and why these were valuable? A few of these basic reasons were that these tarikhs were written by learned people, learned scholars who predominantly lived in cities and mostly in Delhi and the surroundings. Again, they were writing in order to earn good rewards. These works tried to maintain a kind of social discrimination and gender distinctions within their writings. Now, if we talk about Delhi Sultanate, the earliest ones who invaded Delhi were Rajputs. Rajputs were followed by Tomar Rajputs who were defeated by Chauhans of Ajmer. They were followed by Turkish rule. Under Turkish rule, it was Iltutmish who was the main ruler. He was overtaken by Razia, who was his daughter, and among all his sons, Razia was chosen as an emperor. However, as we said that during that time, gender distinction and social order of the birth were important. Social order of the birth means one who was born in a noble society or a noble group would remain at a higher priority. So, that was the feeling at that time. Razia, who took over as an emperor in 1236 and finally left in 1240s. What Minhaj-e-Siraz thought about Razia? Razia ruled for a very short period despite the fact she was taken over and considered was Minhaj-e-Siraj as one of the best rulers among all the sons that Iltutmish had. She could not rule for a prolonged time as that was predominantly due to the gender distinctions or the social order that were existing during that period. This was the cause of Razia in Delhi Sultanate. So, these were later developments which were seen. Timeline to be kept in mind. In the starting, as we saw, that we had first Rajputs who ruled over Delhi Sultanate. Then came the Turkish Empire and it was followed by Khilji Empire. After Khilji Empire, there were Tughlaqs that came in, and finally there were Sayyids and Lodhis. So, Sayyids and Lodhis were in the last in the succession of Delhi. So, these were the some of the important timeline that you people must keep in mind. Now, Preparing manuscripts during that time was very important. To prepare manuscripts, what was done? These manuscripts required paper on which the text was to be written. Then gold was melted, and finally there was binding that was done. Now again in 13th century, three different dynasties or areas had existed. One was Siri, other was Jahanpana, and another was Delhi or Khunja. At the last was Tughlaqabad. Khunja or Delhi was considered as the oldest among the four areas. Now, circle of justice was very important concept at that time. What does the circle of justice say? Circle of justice starts with the king. Now, what does the king require? King requires soldiers. These soldiers require salaries. Where does the salaries come from? The salaries come from revenue. This revenue is collected from the peasants. The peasants pay the revenue only if they were happy and prosperous. They are happy and prosperous only when the king promotes justice. This was the circle of justice that existed during the medieval period, and that was the key aspect of most of the developments under Khiljis and Tughlaqs. Now we will talk about mosques and masjids that were built at that time. First was Quat al-Islam Mosque. This was built during the 12th century. This was a congregational mosque. It means all the people collect here together for prayers. The most respectable person reads out the namaz or prayer they call in. The respected member is known as Imam. This mosque was further enlarged by Iltutmish, Aibak and Khilji. Now, next is Begumpuri Mosque. It was built by Muhammad Tughlaq and is the main mosque of Jahanpana area. Then is the Maut Ki Masjid built by Sikandar Lodhi. What is important here is the sermons that were delivered. These were known as Khutbah. Prayer is done facing to Makkah. Then when they face to Makkah from India, it would be towards west. This is known as Qibla. One thing we must be familiar with was to spread the religion too far. So, they have more and more mosques set up or built in. Now, let us talk about Khiljis and Tughlaqs. As we saw, Delhi Sultanate, especially Iltutmish, they favored certain slaves under their rule known as Badqadar. This is a Persian term which talks about military services which is offered by favored people in the social state or military of the emperor. Most of the people were raised to higher positions by birth. They reached on the position of governors or generals. New sultans came up. They had their own servants. Slowly and gradually, the concept changed. People born in simple families were also getting higher posts. There were three types of major taxes during that time. First was tax on cultivation, which was known as kharaj. It was 50% of the total product that the peasant could do. At number 2, there was tax on cattle, and number 3, there were taxes on houses. The provinces which were far from Delhi Sultanate started becoming independent. Sayars and Lodhis came up. Most of the territory became independent. Meanwhile, Mongols came. Sayars and Lodhis. They ruled under 1526 over Jaunpur, Malwa and Gujarat. Slowly they became independent states. Slowly ruling areas became confined. Sher Shah Suri. He captured Delhi and ruled for 15 years. Administrative strategy of Sher Shah Suri's dynasty was good and was later on followed by Akbar. Now, what was happening during Delhi Sultanate period in India? There were changes throughout the world that were taking. Division of society. Society was mainly divided into military persons, priests and agricultures. This division of society was supported by church. Slowly and gradually, wars started in the name of religion known as crusades. After this, a big change occurred in Indian administrative system, Indian rulers and Indian culture. This was all about Delhi Sultans. Thank you everyone for watching my video. If you liked my video, click on the liked button and subscribe my channel for upcoming videos. And also press the bell icon so that you don't miss any updates. Thank you. Have a good day ahead.